AITA for stopping my mom from giving away my inheritance. My mom's fiancé tried to steal $18,000 from my scholarship fund by forging my signature. He called it helping. I called it fraud. The courtroom? I'm 23, and my grandfather was the only person in my entire childhood who actually treated me like a human being instead of an inconvenience. He was the one who showed up to school events, who sat with me while I did homework, who actually listened when I talked about my future. Before he passed, he set up a scholarship fund under my name. And when I say scholarship, don't imagine something cute and flexible. No, this thing is legally bulletproof. My grandfather even joked, I made it idiot-proof for the idiots who will try to get their hands on it. The rules are ironclad. Only I and the fund manager can authorize any withdrawal. Nobody else. Not my mom. Not any future step-parent. Not even a power of attorney unless I sign off. It's the one thing in my entire life that couldn't be touched, manipulated, or guilt-tripped away. It's the one thing I have that isn't tied to someone else's mood or drama. My mom, bless her delusional heart, is the type of person who dates project men. She loves a guy with potential, even if that potential is entirely imaginary. But her latest fiancé, Grant, is the final boss of delusional men. Grant is 52, unemployed by choice, and proud of it. He says employment is a scarcity mindset. He has a YouTube channel with exactly 112 subscribers, where he films himself walking around in thrift store suits talking about hustle frequencies. The audio is so bad it sounds like he's recording from inside a washing machine. He calls himself a motivational strategist and tries to give people life advice they never asked for. He literally once told a teenager bagging groceries that minimum wage is a mental prison. The poor kid just blinked at him like he was speaking another language. He also constantly borrows $5, $10, $20 from my mom to invest in his content creation. His big improvements, buying LED strip lights and a ring light he doesn't know how to turn on. My mom thinks he's brilliant. I think he's a walking midlife crisis with Wi-Fi. Anyway, 3 weeks ago, I got an email from the fund manager asking for clarification on a withdrawal request. I almost choked. I was sitting there eating cereal, minding my own business, and suddenly my future was flashing before my eyes. The withdrawal request? $18,000. $18,000. A number big enough to make me stand up so fast I spilled cereal everywhere. I asked for copies of the forms. The moment I saw the handwriting, I burst out laughing. Not a polite chuckle. I mean a full, hysterical, deranged laugh. It looked like someone took a pen, taped it to a squirrel, spun it around, and said right. It didn't even look close to my signature. The first letter wasn't even the right shape. The last name looked like he gave up halfway through and scribbled a line. And of course, the name attached to the request? Grant. Not officially, obviously, because he's too stupid to realize his handwriting is recognizable. But it was his sloppy lettering all over that paper. I drove to my mom's house immediately, walked right into the living room, slapped the paper on the coffee table, and said, Grant, did you forge my signature like a toddler trying to fake a report card? Grant stood up like he was about to deliver a TED Talk nobody bought tickets for. He put his hands behind his back like he was posing for a motivational poster. I shut that down real fast. My mom rushed in from the kitchen like she already knew what was coming. Sweetheart, don't start. He was trying to help. Help. Grant put his hands together like he was a budget monk and said, financial energy is meant to circulate. You're restricting your abundance. I stared at him and said, you have delusional influencer brain. He said I had small-minded energy. That's when the yelling started. My mom exploded first. She went straight into her classic greatest hits playlist. You are disrespectful. You are ungrateful. I raised you alone. I have sacrificed so much. I said, you didn't sacrifice my education fund. He tried to steal it. She fired back that I shouldn't talk about stealing in front of family. Grant nodded dramatically like he was in a courtroom drama. I told her I wasn't going to tolerate anyone using my education fund as their personal ATM. Grant tried to justify the theft by saying the money was for a drone fleet to elevate his content strategy. I said, a drone fleet? You can't even get 100 real subscribers. What are you going to film? The inside of your excuses. Grant told me to get out of his house. I said, this is not your house. You don't even pay for your own haircut. He turned red. My mom gasped like I slapped her. He started screaming about building a household legacy and me sabotaging his success. I laughed, a very unhelpful laugh. He looked like he might explode. I left, and I called a lawyer that same day. Court was a full-blown circus. Grant showed up in sunglasses indoors like he thought he was a celebrity. His suit looked like it came from a Halloween clearance bin. Before the judge even spoke, Grant tried to introduce himself with, I am a visionary entrepreneur. The judge cut him off with a single, exhausted hand wave. When the judge asked why he forged my signature, he said, "Because I believe the universe wants me to thrive and money is fluid." The judge took his glasses off, leaned in, and said, "The universe will not be paying your fines, Mr. Grant." My mom started sobbing dramatically like she was trying to win an award. She kept saying I was humiliating her future husband and ruining her chances at happiness. I said, loudly, "I didn't ruin anything. He ruined it by being stupid." Grant muttered, "You're threatened by my success." I said, "The only thing I'm threatened by is your incompetence." My mom gasped again like I set her on fire. The judge shut everything down quickly, declared the whole attempt fraudulent, issued a formal warning, and said if Grant even looked at my accounts again, he'd be facing charges. My phone hasn't stopped blowing up since. My mom keeps leaving voicemails sobbing about how I made Grant feel small. My aunt says I should have handled it privately. My cousin says I ruined the family dynamic. Grant blocked me on everything, thank God, and now everyone's asking if I'm going to apologize to him. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Update 1: it was 3 days after court, around 9 in the morning, and I was in the middle of making coffee, like literally mid-pour, when someone started banging on my front door. Not knocking, banging. The kind of banging that immediately makes your nerves tighten like an overtuned violin. It sounded like whoever was out there believed doors were mythical barriers created specifically to oppress them. I froze and listened for a second. Then the banging got louder, then faster, then sloppier, like whoever was doing it was having an emotional breakdown while using their fist as a battering ram. I already knew. Deep in my soul I knew. I opened the door and there stood my mother, looking like she'd sprinted through a rainstorm made of mascara and freshly developed regret. Her eyeliner had melted into these dramatic black streaks, like someone smeared ash under her eyes. She was literally halfway through crying, nose red, shoulders shaking, hair sticking to her face like she'd been dragged backward through a humidifying machine. And in her hands, a stack of papers held against her chest like they were ancient scrolls containing the secrets of the universe. I said, "What is that?" She sniffed loudly, dramatically, aggressively, and said, "Your apology letters." There was a full 3-second delay where my brain just rebooted itself. I blinked at her. Apology to who? She shoved the papers toward me so fast one of the pages fluttered out of the stack and landed on my porch like a dead moth. To me and to Grant. For humiliating us. For twisting the story. For attacking him in front of a judge. For breaking apart our family. For hurting my relationship. For ruining our reputation. I cut her off. "You want me to apologize? Are you out of your mind?" That's when she detonated. Like a firecracker stuffed into a blender. She launched into this full volume, throat-shredding meltdown so loud the neighbor's dog started barking as if it was trying to call 911. She wasn't just crying. She was yelling while crying, the specific brand of emotional chaos that makes every word tremble. She started accusing me of everything under the sun, trying to destroy her chance at happiness, acting jealous because Grant finally stepped up as the man of the house. He stepped up to commit fraud, but okay. Being poisoned by my grandfather's legacy. Still no clue what that's supposed to imply. He left me a truck, not a cult, trying to sabotage an honest man's career. What career? The 112 subscriber motivational channel? She was stomping her foot so hard the porch boards vibrated. She waved her arms like someone was swatting bees around her head. She kept getting closer to me every time she made a dramatic point, until her face was so close I could smell the artificial lavender scent of her Peace and Harmony essential oil spray. And then suddenly, mid-hysterical rant, she stopped. Her eyes flicked upward, over my shoulder. My stomach dropped. I turned around. Walking up my driveway like a rejected extra from a reality TV show was Grant. And not just Grant in wardrobe. He was wearing the loudest cobalt blue suit jacket humanity has ever seen. The kind of jacket that screams, "I sell crypto courses out of my garage." The material was shiny, too, like it was bought from some sketchy online store that uses words like limited edition and innovative fiber tech. He looked like a children's birthday magician whose entire career had been funded by delusion and misplaced confidence. He put his hands behind his back as he walked, chest puffed out, chin slightly raised, like he was about to deliver a TED Talk titled, "How to Manifest Money You Didn't Earn." He opened his mouth and said, "You know, if you aligned your abundance mindset with ours, none of this conflict would have manifested." I just stared, silent, motionless, processing levels, 0. After about 5 seconds of internal buffering, I managed to say, "Get off my porch before my abundance mindset calls the cops." He gave me this tiny, smug little smirk, like he genuinely believed he was the wise monk in this situation, and said, "You're emotionally unstable. Please include that in your apology." I laughed so hard I actually choked, like full-on cough sputter wheeze. Then I slammed the door directly in both their faces. But of course, that wasn't the end. I should have known they wouldn't walk away like normal human beings. They stayed on my porch and started yelling loudly, like two televangelists who'd been denied a donation and decided to perform an exorcism on my front door. My mom screamed through the wood, "You're ruining everything. You always do this. Why can't you just support his vision?" I yelled back, "Because his vision involves stealing from me and buying drones with stolen money." Grant yelled, "Drones are the future of content creation." I yelled, "So is not committing fraud, you YouTube wannabe." My mom shrieked something along the lines of, "You don't respect my spiritual journey," which made me shout, "Your spiritual journey doesn't involve my bank account." At this point, the circus had an audience. The neighbor directly across from me cracked open their window like they were on intermission from watching a play. A woman walking her dog stopped and stared, slowly pulling her dog closer as if we were contagious. A teenager on a bike literally parked across the street to film the whole thing on his phone. It was a community event. Eventually, after way too much screaming, they stormed off the porch, muttering dramatically like villains in a D-list movie. I swear I heard Grant say, "We're dealing with a low-frequency individual." 5 minutes later, just 5, I got a text notification. My stomach already hurt. It was a 14-paragraph text message from my mother. Paragraphs, not sentences, not bullet points. Paragraphs. It included gems like, "You betrayed our bond. Grant is trying his hardest and you crushed him. Real families don't file legal paperwork against each other. You have become toxic with your grandfather's money. You need to cleanse your mindset and apologize." Cleanse my mindset? What am I, a misbehaving crystal? I didn't even respond. I just took screenshots of everything, and forwarded it to my lawyer. My lawyer replied in under 30 seconds, "Do not respond. Archive everything." So guess who's spending the rest of the day saving screenshots into labeled folders like a forensic archivist? Update 2: I genuinely thought the porch meltdown would be the peak of this insanity. I thought maybe, just maybe, after my lawyer told me to stop responding and archive everything, they would take the hint and leave me alone for at least a week. Nope. Somehow, this week has become even worse than the last one, which I didn't think was possible. It all started with my aunt. The same aunt who thinks she's a spiritual guru because she went to a 3-hour meditation workshop at a local mall, deciding to host a healing dinner for the family. I refused to go, of course. She ignored that and decided to bring it to me. Yesterday morning, at 8 a.m. sharp, my doorbell started ringing nonstop. Not gentle knocking, not polite, insistent pounding, like someone was trying to summon the spirits of chaos itself. I ignored it for a good minute, thinking it was a delivery, but the knocking escalated into a full-blown assault. I opened the door, and there they were, standing on my porch like a suburban intervention squad from hell. My mom. Mascara already running from who knows how many rehearsals of crying in the mirror. My aunt, wearing a neon tie-dye poncho that was brighter than the morning sun and probably meant to enhance family energy. 2 of my cousins, clearly trapped against their will, looking like they were about to evaporate into thin air. And Grant, of course, holding a bouquet of plastic roses so. Right, I had to blink 3 times. I froze. Then, with all the patience I could muster, I said, "No. Whatever this is, the answer is no." My aunt clasped her hands to her chest like she was about to launch into a TED Talk for spiritually lost suburbanites. She said, "We brought a healing dinner." A healing dinner. I looked down at the actual catering trays she'd lugged, stacked like they were ready to serve ghosts. I said, "Why would you bring a dinner at 8 in the morning?" Her answer, "Healing has no clock." I considered closing the door and hiding under the couch, but I knew it would be futile. Then Grant decided to make his grand entrance. He strutted forward like a peacock who had just discovered a new color, chest puffed, hands clasped behind him, suit jacket that looked like it came from a clown costume store. "We need to speak as a family to restore shared prosperity," he said. I laughed so hard that one cousin almost fell over. He squinted like the universe had personally insulted him. "Your resistance to shared prosperity," he added, "is the root of our conflict." I yelled back, "My resistance to fraud is the root of our conflict." He raised his voice. "You are blocking the flow of abundance." I bellowed, "You were blocking the flow of my scholarship fund when you forged my signature." Mom gasped. Aunt clutched her heart like it might explode, and one cousin muttered under her breath, "Oh God, here we go again." My aunt tried to mediate, like a talking statue of calm. "Let's all just sit down and—" I cut her off mid-sentence. "No, nobody is sitting. Nobody is eating. Nobody is healing. Nobody is sharing anything. Get off my property or I call the police." Mom instantly broke into sobs, full volume, like someone had hit the dramatic meltdown button. "Why are you doing this to us? Why are you trying to tear the family apart?" I yelled back, almost yelling through my teeth. "I'm not tearing anything apart. Your fiancé committed fraud." Grant, ever the dramatic, pointed his finger at me like he was about about to cast a curse. Your energy is toxic, I shouted back. Your entire business plan is toxic. He puffed up like I'd slapped him across the face. You're mocking my livelihood, I screamed. What livelihood? You don't have one. Mom shrieked, aunt gasped, cousins recoiled. It was live-action soap opera chaos, full volume. Grant stepped closer like he thought intimidation would work, tripped slightly on the doormat, pretended nothing happened. You need meditation and humility, he said. I shot back. You need a job and a functioning plan. He tried to interrupt. I talked louder. You're disrespecting my path, he yelled. I screamed. Your path involves stealing money you didn't earn, Mom shouted. Why can't you just support him? I yelled back. Because he can't support himself, and screamed something about bad vibrations. One cousin whispered, oh my God. Across the street, someone opened their blinds. Another person walked their dog slowly, probably filming. Broadway-level chaos. As they turned to leave, Grant extended the bouquet of plastic roses toward me, as if this would magically heal everything. These symbolize eternal abundance, he said. I laughed, nearly choking. They symbolize that you shop at dollar stores and lie. Mom gasped. Aunt clutched her chest like she might faint. One cousin bit her lip to stop from laughing. Grant snatched the roses back like I'd personally insulted the fabric of the universe. They finally left, muttering dramatically, like villains exiting stage left. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. 37-line text from my aunt about shame, karmic wounds, forgiveness portals, and the danger of inherited selfishness. Mom sent a voice note so full of tears and wails it sounded like she was underwater. Grant texted, you rejected a gift of abundance. I pity you. I screenshotted everything and forwarded it to my lawyer immediately. His reply, under 30 seconds later, good. Keep doing that. Archive everything. Do not engage. So that's been my week. Update 3, it started Tuesday morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, scrolling through emails, trying to wake up when I saw a notification from my scholarship fund manager. My heart skipped a beat. My eyes widened. I almost dropped my mug. There it was, another withdrawal attempt. This time, $12,000. $12,000. My chest tightened like I was being punched with invisible fists. I immediately called the fund manager, hands shaking. They confirmed it. Grant had tried again. Some new forged set of forms, slightly more convincing than the last attempt. Like a spider with OCD had crawled across the page with ink, but still laughably fake. I called my mom first. Bad idea. Sweetheart, maybe we can just mediate? I lost it. I screamed so loud I'm convinced the neighbor 2 doors down could hear me. Mediate? Are you insane? He tried to steal my money again. Are you going to stand there and cheer him on while he does this? She huffed and said, you're overreacting. He's just trying to help the family. I practically yelled the phone into pieces. Help? Stealing money is not help. You're helping him commit fraud. She said, you're being ungrateful. He's only trying to elevate the household energy. I screamed, elevate? He's elevating himself into a criminal record. And of course, Grant called. Naturally, you have small-minded energy. You're resisting abundance, he said, calm as if he weren't literally trying to steal $12,000 from me again. I yelled, small-minded. You forged my signature. You are the definition of small-minded. You have the emotional intelligence of a houseplant. He replied smugly, like he was about to drop wisdom at a TED Talk. You're threatened by my vision. I yelled back loud enough that my cat literally ran under the bed. The only thing I'm threatened by is your incompetence. Your vision is a fraud scheme and a bad YouTube channel. You have 112 subscribers. You call this a career? My mom gasped like I had physically hit her. Then my aunt, who has apparently taken on the role of spiritual mediator of chaos, called in via speakerphone. She tried to calm things down with, we just need to align the energy, open our hearts. I yelled at her too. Mediator? You don't mediate theft. You enable it. You've been cheering him on while he tries to steal from me. Grant, apparently sensing he had to match my volume, started yelling over me. You are spiritually blocked. You're sabotaging the family. You are toxic. I screamed louder. I am not toxic. I am protecting my money from a con man and from people too blind to see it. You are toxic. Mom tried to interject again. You're being so mean. You're hurting everyone's vibes. I yelled at her. I am hurting your fake vibes, not anyone else. Stop defending him. By this point, my aunt joined in again via text. You must let go and allow the energy to flow through you. I yelled at my phone. The energy I'm allowing to flow is you all leaving me the hell alone. My cousins, who somehow got pulled into this circus by the aunt, started texting me passive-aggressively. Maybe you could try to compromise? I replied in all caps text. Compromise? Compromise with fraud, with theft, with delusional internet content creator people. No. Then it escalated further. My mom decided to send a series of 6 screaming voice notes, each longer than the last, crying about how I destroyed the family, blocked the flow of energy, and turned everyone against the household vision. I listened to them and yelled at the phone like it was possessed. Household vision? You mean his scammy YouTube drone dreams? Grant sent me me a text at the exact same time. You rejected abundance. I pity your soul. I typed back, dripping in rage. The only thing I pity is your inability to hold a real job and stop stealing money. Then came the weirdest part. My aunt emailed me a 21-page PDF detailing karmic flow, ancestral energy blockage, and the healing portal of forgiveness. I literally screamed at the screen. Blockages? Portals? This is fraud, not spiritual mysticism. At this point, I was yelling so much that I'm sure my neighbors think I'm slowly losing my mind. My cat hasn't left the bed in 3 days. My throat is raw. My arms are tired from flailing dramatically during phone calls. I spent the entire day forwarding every single message, every email, every call log, every text, every insane PDF, every voice note to my lawyer. My lawyer replied with the calmest, most professional tone imaginable. Good. Keep documenting everything. Do not engage. No matter what they say, you are doing the right thing. By the end of the day, I was physically and emotionally drained. My head was pounding. My voice was gone. My apartment felt like the epicenter of a reality show produced by people with no comprehension of consent or boundaries. And yet, the chaos isn't over. The yelling hasn't stopped. The family is apparently determined to drive me insane while claiming spiritual supremacy and trying to steal my money in the guise of shared prosperity. So yeah, that's where we are. 2 weeks after the courtroom disaster, my life is a constant blend of screaming, fraud prevention, passive-aggressive texts, delusional YouTube lectures, fake roses, spiritual jargon, and abundance mindset lectures. Update 4: it started on a Tuesday morning. I was at my tiny kitchen table, trying to pretend for 5 minutes that my life wasn't one giant explosion of stupidity. I had my coffee, I had my laptop open, I was trying to answer normal adult emails like a normal adult person when my phone buzzed with a notification from my scholarship fund manager. I glanced at it casually, and then my whole body went cold. Subject: unauthorized withdrawal attempt. I swear to God, my stomach fell through the floor. I felt like someone had pushed me off a cliff and I was still falling. I opened the email. $9,500. $9,500. I grabbed my coffee mug, and my hands were shaking so hard I spilled half of it across the table. I was so angry I could feel my jaw locking. My entire chest felt like a car alarm going off. My fund manager wrote that this was the second attempted withdrawal flag this month, and the forged paperwork was slightly more polished this time, meaning Grant had probably watched one YouTube tutorial on fake signatures and thought he was now a master criminal. I didn't even think. I immediately called my mom. Huge mistake. She answered in that fake sweet voice she only uses when she's about to manipulate someone. Sweetheart, maybe we can just talk about this. I didn't even let her finish her sentence. I screamed so loud the cat behind the couch launched itself under the bed like it was escaping a natural disaster. Talk. He tried to steal $9,500 from my scholarship fund. Talking is over. I am done talking. She paused, like she truly believed her calm mom tone would magically fix the situation. You're being dramatic. He just wants to contribute. I absolutely exploded. Contribute? Contributing is helping someone move a couch. MOM. Not committing felony-level fraud to buy drones for his stupid content business. What planet are you living on? Of course, because the universe hates me, Grant called immediately right after I hung up on her, like they were sitting together planning a tag team phone harassment session. He started speaking in that creepy, serene voice of his, the one he uses when he wants to sound like a spiritual guru, but actually sounds like someone about to start a cult. You are closed-minded. Your energy is misaligned. You are resisting the flow of abundance. I screamed so loud I'm convinced the dog 2 doors down barked purely out of sympathy. Closed-minded? You're using spiritual nonsense to justify stealing money. I'm resisting your fraud, your cracked-out motivational speeches, and your chronic unemployment, you absolute clown. He replied smugly. He always replies smugly. You are threatened by my vision. Oh, I saw red. Threatened? The only thing I'm threatened by is your stupidity. You have 112 subscribers, a drone obsession, and a complex about being a leader when you can't even lead yourself into a legal income. My mom gasped like I'd said something unspeakable about the Pope. And then, because my family cannot resist turning any situation into a group project of disaster, by noon the rest of them had joined in. My aunt called me on speakerphone, speaking in that overly rehearsed, overly wise tone she uses whenever she starts one of her mystical rants. This is a sign of ancestral imbalance. We must cleanse the lineage and restore harmony. I yelled into my phone hard enough I thought it might crack. He tried to steal $9,500. That's not a lineage issue. That's a crime. She kept going tiptoeing like she didn't even hear me. Forgiveness portals must remain open or else the family tree rots. I yelled even louder. The only thing rotting is my patience. Then my cousin, who is absolutely the type to sit in the corner stirring drama like sugar into tea, texted, "Maybe you could compromise a little?" I typed back without hesitation, in all caps, "Compromise with fraud? With a YouTube strategist who thinks money is an energy field and not a real currency? What part of not stealing is negotiable?" Around 3 p.m., my mom sent 7 voice notes in a row. 7, each more dramatic than the last. She accused me of destroying the family, crushing Grant's spirit, being selfish, rejecting abundance, acting cold and heartless, repeating my grandfather's mistakes, and blocking the household's spiritual flow. I listened to half of one, yelled at my phone in pure rage, and slammed it onto the table. Of course, Grant texted again, because apparently he thinks persistence will eventually get him my bank information. "You have rejected abundance. You are spiritually blind." "I am saddened." I replied, "The only thing I'm blind to is why you think your fake business has any future. Your motivational strategies are as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Stop trying to steal my money and go get a real job." Then came the absolute worst part, the 37-page PDF. 37 pages, single-spaced, written by my aunt. It had sections titled Forgiveness Portals, Inherited Ego Wounds, Vibration Misalignment, The Curse of Material Attachment, and Shared Prosperity Contracts Through Generational Memory. I screamed so loudly the cat hissed at me. 37 pages. I'm trying to protect my scholarship fund, not read a fanfiction about energy spirals. By evening, my phone felt like a bomb. Every buzz made my stomach flip. Every message was like a punch. Every voicemail felt like someone was scraping my nerves with a fork. I've been archiving everything, forwarding everything to my lawyer. Every text, every voicemail, every PDF, every manipulation attempt. My throat hurts from yelling. My hands keep shaking. My pulse won't go down. I feel like I'm trapped in a tornado of family insanity, one that keeps spinning faster and faster every week. And the worst part? I can feel it in my gut. Update 5 around 8:30. I was in my room, still half asleep, sipping lukewarm coffee, trying desperately to mentally prepare myself for the week. My phone buzzed like it had been possessed by 7 demon apps simultaneously. 3 missed calls, 1 voicemail, and a group text titled Family Emergency, Urgent Healing Required. I froze. My stomach did that weird flip-flop thing that only happens when someone is about to ruin your entire day. I opened the voicemail. My mom's voice was trembling, but not in a normal upset way. No, this was the full Oscar-winning, soul-crushing, emotional hostage version. "Sweetheart, please, just come down. We're all in danger of losing spiritual balance. Grant he's been attacked by negativity energy. It's happening in the house. You're the only one who can fix it." I almost threw my phone across the room. Before I could process, the front door slammed open. Yep, they were here. Again. My mom, Grant, my aunt, and this time my 2 uncles, whom I haven't seen in a decade, showing up like a surprise invasion squad. Grant immediately stepped forward, waving his hands like a conductor about to summon a symphony of enlightenment. "We need to align your energy with ours. This is an emergency of the highest order. You have rejected abundance for the last time." I pointed at him. "Rejected abundance? You tried to steal $9,500 from my scholarship fund. That's not abundance. That's criminal." He puffed his chest out like I had just slapped his spiritual credentials. "You are attacking my vision. Your vision is fraud, and I am attacking it with every ounce of logic and rage I have." My mom started sobbing again, dramatically clutching her chest like she'd just been physically assaulted by my words. "You're tearing this family apart. I am saving what you're trying to destroy. Your fiancé literally committed fraud, Mom." My aunt chimed in, voice quivering like she was narrating a horror movie. "The karmic alignment is disturbed. You've shattered the forgiveness portals and the ancestral bonds." I yelled right back. "The only bonds shattered are your brains. If you think anyone can justify fraud with karmic alignment." At this point, my 2 uncles had moved into full chaos mode. One waved a rolled-up newspaper at me like he thought physical intimidation could solve a legal and ethical problem. The other muttered about generational curses and bloodline responsibilities. "Bloodline responsibilities?" I yelled, throwing my hands up. "The only responsibility here is to not steal from me." Grant, never one to be outdone, somehow managed to trip over his own suit jacket and landed on one knee in what he clearly thought was a dramatic enlightenment pose. "You cannot understand the flow of the universe," he yelled, right as my cat decided to launch itself at him for daring to kneel on the floor of my apartment. I screamed, "The only flow I care about is the flow of money into my bank account that you aren't allowed to touch." My mom shrieked, "He's your father figure now. Why can't you just trust him?" I yelled even louder, "Because he isn't a father figure. He is a fraudster in a suit with a drone obsession and a YouTube YouTube complex. At this point, my neighbors were out of their houses, peeking over fences and recording the chaos like it was some kind of reality TV show. One kid actually shouted, "Is this a fight or a family counseling session?" I screamed back, "This is a crisis of logic and decency, kid." Grant then had the audacity to hold up a business card. Yes, a business card. I am a motivational strategist. I help align human potential. I ripped it from his hands like it was a poisonous snake. The only potential you're helping is your ability to commit criminal fraud. Then the unthinkable happened. My aunt pulled out a whiteboard. A whiteboard. She started drawing circles and triangles, connecting them with arrows labeled forgiveness, energy, and prosperity flow. If you don't participate, the ancestral imbalance will worsen exponentially. I yelled back so loud my neighbors probably had to call HR on me. The only exponential thing here is your delusion, lady. My mom started crying so hard she could barely speak. Grant tried to soothe her by waving his hands over her like he was casting a healing spell. "Feel the abundance," he whispered. I yelled across the room. "The only abundance you will feel is a criminal charge if you touch my money again." Finally, after what felt like 3 hours but was probably only 30 minutes, they stormed out in a haze of hysteria, dramatic sighs, plastic roses, and whiteboard diagrams. 10 minutes later, my phone erupted again. 7 missed calls from my mom. 4 new voicemails from Grant, each longer than the last, repeating the same lines about rejected abundance, spiritual blindness, and energy misalignment. Then my aunt sent a 56-page PDF. 56 pages. Single-spaced. I swear this is not a joke. Every page was some variation of forgiveness, portal recalibration, karmic responsibility chains, lineage prosperity flow, and healing the energy matrix. I screamed into my pillow so hard my throat might be permanently damaged. I forwarded everything to my lawyer immediately. Update 6. I was finally trying to breathe, sip coffee, and maybe read an email without feeling my heart rate spike every 10 seconds when my phone blew up like a bomb. Texts, voicemails, emails, social media messages, group chats, all from the same people. Mom, Grant, aunt, cousins. And now my older uncle had joined the fray, which I guess makes him a fully licensed chaos agent. They weren't subtle. They weren't even polite. First, I listened to a voicemail from my mom. Full sobbing meltdown. She accused me of destroying the family energy, attacking Grant's divine destiny, and poisoning the lineage with my selfishness. Her voice cracked so many times I genuinely wondered if she was auditioning for a soap opera. Then Grant called, and this time, he didn't whisper about abundance. Oh no, he shouted, "You are closed-minded. You are blocking the flow. You have an O vision, an O energy, an O." I literally screamed back into the phone. "You have an O legal right to touch my money. None. Zero. And your vision is fraudulent, delusional, and embarrassing." Shut up. That's when it escalated further. My aunt decided group text escalation was the way to go. She sent a chain of 18 texts in under 5 minutes about healing portals, energetic reconciliation, and ancestral cleansing exercises. Each text more incomprehensible than the last. I yelled back in the group chat, each word fully capitalized, "I am not cleaning anything. The only portal I care about is the legal portal where you go to jail if you touch my funds again." By mid-morning, my mom actually showed up in person. Not just her. She brought Grant, my aunt, and one cousin with her, all holding notebooks, healing crystals, and a large plastic bag that rattled like it contained someone's dignity. "We need to discuss reconciliation," my mom said. I laughed so hard I choked on air. Reconciliation. The last time I checked, reconciliation doesn't involve trying to steal $9,500 from your daughter. MOM. Grant puffed up like a proud peacock and shouted, "You are blocking the universal flow." "I'm blocking your fraud, you mean?" I yelled back, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. The neighbors started gathering on their porches, whispering, filming, and probably placing bets on who would lose their sanity first. My mom screamed, "You are tearing the family apart. This is not how real families behave." I yelled louder than her. "The only thing being teared apart is my patience. Your fiancé tried to steal from me. MOM. Stop making excuses." Grant then did the unthinkable. He stepped forward, pointing at me like he was about to cast a spell or start a motivational TikTok monologue. "Your energy is toxic. You must cleanse your soul." I screamed so loud my cat jumped onto the ceiling fan, and I'm not even kidding. "Your energy is fraudulent. You must cleanse yourself from my life immediately." My aunt tried to mediate, waving her arms like a sorceress in a failed fantasy movie. "We can all find peace together. We can realign our chakras." I yelled, "The only chakra you're realigning is your legal status. Stop touching my money." By noon, Grant had tried calling my fund manager directly. Thankfully, they were on high alert and told him he had zero authority and that any further attempts would be considered harassment and potentially criminal. I called my lawyer, practically screaming, and we drafted a full cease and desist. It went out by 3 p.m. It explicitly clearly stated that any attempt to contact me, my accounts, or anyone involved in my scholarship fund would result in immediate legal action. No exceptions, no spiritual excuses, no abundance nonsense. Even after the legal team intervened, the drama didn't stop. My mom sent 8 voice messages in a row accusing me of alienating the family and attacking the divine purpose of Grant's life. One cousin sent a text telling me I needed to open my heart and feel the abundance. Another said I was possessive and ungrateful. I yelled at my phone. Possessive, ungrateful. I am literally trying to protect my future from fraud. You know nothing. By evening, I finally sat down, exhausted, shaking, voice raw, hands trembling. I archived every single text, email, and voicemail. Screenshots saved, PDF saved, legal files updated, every ridiculous line preserved. And yet, the tension is still there. You can feel it in the silence, like the calm before a second storm. Grant has been temporarily silenced by the legal letter. My mom is sulking somewhere in dramatic isolation. But my gut tells me this isn't over. Not by a long shot. Update 7. It started Monday morning. I woke up to the usual barrage of notifications and thought maybe, just maybe, it would be quiet. A girl can dream. I was sipping coffee, trying to pretend this is a normal adult life when my phone literally erupted. Texts, voicemails, emails, Instagram DMs. All of them screaming one thing. We're not done with you. You need to fix this. You're ruining lives. You're toxic. You're ungrateful. You're selfish. I ignored the first few. Then my mom called. Her voice was dripping with crocodile tears. How can you do this to your family? Grant is devastated. He just wants to help. You're poisoning everything. I screamed back. Help, help. He tried to steal $9,500 from my scholarship fund. That's not help. That's fraud. MOM. You. No, nothing. Then Grant called. He wasn't calm. He wasn't pretending to be motivational. He yelled, shouting as if the courtroom hadn't already embarrassed him. You are closing the flow of abundance. You are toxic. You are destroying energy. I yelled louder. I am destroying energy. I am destroying fraud attempts. You tried to steal from me. You fraudulent, delusional, 112 subscriber motivational speaker. How dare you? Then, as if the universe thought this needed a live audience, my mom showed up at my door with Grant, my aunt, and the cousins. All of them. Again, at 8 a.m. And yes, the plastic roses made another cameo. We're here to mediate and heal, my mom said. I laughed so hard I choked. Heal? You want to heal my scholarship fund after he tried to steal $9,500? Heal yourself, MOM. Grant stepped forward, as if he were about to start a TED Talk. You are blocking universal flow. You need to open your heart. I screamed. I need you to open a bank account with your own money. Stop touching mine. My aunt tried to wave her hands like she was conducting some sort of magical orchestra. We must cleanse the energy and repair ancestral wounds. I yelled. The only wound here is your complete lack of respect for my legal funds. Then it hit the next level. Grant tried stepping closer like intimidation would work. He tripped on the doormat, fell into a planter, and then screamed like I had insulted the entire universe. You mock my vision. Your vision involves fraud, drones, and incompetence. I yelled back. By this point, neighbors were watching, filming, whispering. Someone probably called 911. Someone definitely uploaded part of it to TikTok. Then my mom lost it completely. She screamed, why can't you just support him? He's trying to help us. I bellowed, help? You call stealing my scholarship fund help? He is 52 years old, unemployed, and thinks plastic roses are capital investment. One cousin tried to whisper something like, maybe you should apologize. I shouted back, apologize to your fraud? Apologize to the man who tried to steal my education fund. Are you insane? The chaos kept building. Grant started waving his hands like he was casting a spell. Your energy is toxic. You must align. Your energy is fraud. You must leave. I yelled, so loud my throat hurt for hours. By noon, I called my lawyer. We escalated to a full legal injunction. Cease and desist wasn't enough anymore. The letter went out same day, clearly stating, any contact, any attempt to access the fund, any harassment, and any attempt to show up in person would trigger immediate legal action. Criminal charges included. Then came the final verbal battle. My mom screamed that I destroyed the family and embarrassed everyone publicly. Embarrassed. I yelled, you want to talk embarrassment? The only embarrassment here is your fiancé forging my signature and trying to steal $9,500. That's embarrassment, and you defended him. Grant shouted back, you are threatening universal success. The only threat here is you trying to touch my life and my future without any rights. I yelled. My aunt tried one last spiritual plea. Please, consider energy healing and family bonds. The only healing I need is legal healing from fraud, not your psychic theater. By 3 p.m., they left, stormed off. Plastic roses abandoned on the the porch like war trophies. But the shouting and insults echoed in my ears for hours. My phone buzzed nonstop. My lawyer confirmed. Everything was documented, archived, ready for court if needed. I sat down, trembling, hands raw from yelling, throat sore, heart racing. But for the first time in weeks, I could breathe a tiny bit easier. The scholarship fund is safe. Legal protection is in place. Every absurd message, voicemail, and text is archived. The end. You, my friend, are not AITA. Your entire saga is basically a sitcom where you're the only person who isn't holding a balloon made of nonsense. Grant behaves like a Wi-Fi prophet who believes a ring light will open financial portals. Your mother acts like she's auditioning for a tear-soaked soap opera marathon. Your aunt keeps sprinkling discount spirituality over felony-level nonsense. Meanwhile, you're just trying to defend a fund your grandfather wrapped in steel, titanium, and spite. My personal insight: this isn't a family conflict. This is a traveling circus powered by delusion, thrift store suits, and motivational gibberish. Your stance is the only thing preventing a drone-based apocalypse and a channel with 112 subscribers from swallowing your future whole. Suggestion: maintain boundaries. Keep archiving everything like a digital archaeologist and continue treating Grant's abundance wisdom with the same seriousness you'd give a squirrel doing taxes. Joke. Grant thinking he's owed your scholarship money is like a mime demanding royalties for breathing. Final verdict: not AITA. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to check out AITA for stopping my cousin from stealing my $8 million business. Click here to watch it now.